we have existing structure. So let's use the existing structure first. Then, if you want to expand, then we can talk about we expanding to other areas.
And who are you negotiating with at this
with the
point?
National Petroleum Authority. I mean, they are the regulators, so they decide what to do. So this first meeting I'm talking about was held between the two bottling plants, the LPG Marketing Companies Association and the National Petroleum Authority. They called for that meeting. So we said, no, we cannot do that, because if you are not ready to compensate us, then we are not ready to decommission the plant just because you want to introduce a new policy. So as I said, at the time, we didn't know why Sage Petroleum and Blue Ocean vehemently opposed that idea. So it was subsequently that we got to realize that they have gone for LPG marketing license. And of late, what we saw was that they had descended onto the retail space and are putting cages and containers in front of the LPG station and beside the LPG station, competing vigorously with us in the retail space. So we said, look, you cannot use your right hand to do business with us and use the left hand to take the same business from us. So if that's the case, then all your gas at your depot, put them in bottles and come to the distribution space and distribute. We are prepared for that competition because we have agreed with MPA that the two systems should run side by side. So if you that we are doing business with have found a need to come, go behind us, pick LPG distribution license, and you are now competing with us in the space, then there's no need for us to also do business with you. After all, we have over 6 or 7.
So you made this point strongly to the NPA.
We made, in fact, for the past 1 year, that has been our bone of contention with the NPA. That we don't know why they should not allow us to use our existing infrastructure to distribute.
And what was the response from the NPA?
Well, they insisted that they are not going to allow us. That's what I just told you. That the only way they can allow CRM cylinders at the station is to decommission the station without compensation and throw our equipment away. And we find that
when they found out what Sage and Blue Ocean were doing, what were their response to it?
They haven't done anything. I mean, they gave them the permit to do that. So what do you expect them to do? They permitted them to do that. Sage Petroleum has gone for a license and has formed a new company called New Gas, and they are in charge of the retail end. So more or less, you are creating a monopoly. Already, Sage Petroleum has half of Ghana. Atuabo, they have a depot at Atuabo, which is supplying half of Ghana. Okay? Alone, they are the only company at Atuabo supplying half of Ghana. They have come to Tema, built a plant there, and is competing with about 7 or 8 other BDCs in Tema for the other half of Ghana.
So this is the basis
that is
of
not
your
enough.
boycotts.
Yes, because like I said, you can't eat your cake and have it. I'm not sure.
So what exactly are you boycotting?
We are boycotting doing business with those two companies. So we are not lifting LPG from them any longer. And we started this yesterday.
But of course, you know this has larger implications for the economy.
We don't see what the implication is because there are, as I said, there are about 4 other companies.
Well, there are already projections that LPG prices could go up.
No, that is not going to. That will never raise the price of LPG. No, because the 4 other BDCs there are more than capable. In fact, if you take even fuel trade alone has the capacity to supply to the whole country. So if you have 4, and then we have a Central refinery also producing the LPG. So there is abundance of LPG in Tema for everybody. Nobody should deceive you that once we boycott those two companies, there'll be shortage of LPG in Ghana.
Let's find out from energy strategist Dr. Yusuf Suleimana, who's been speaking on this matter, specifically urging the National Petroleum Authority to find a way to integrate LPG marketers into the cylinder recirculation model that does not require them to scrap their existing equipment as well as infrastructure. Just take a listen to him.
But the regulator will have to probably sit down and engage further with this disgruntled members of the association, the LPG marketers, and then the tanker drivers to be able to resolve this issue. Because sometimes issues start like this in their minute form, and when they are not handled or nipped in the bud, the potential for them to skyrocket into levels that we may not like it is high. If they could assimilate it into the current model, that would have been great. If they can find a position, a place for them within the chain, the distribution chain of the current model, that would be fine. So I urge the regulator to look into that to see probably where some of these players can be found. Otherwise, we may have to give them a little bit of time. I don't know how much, because I believe the regulator has done that. And bear in mind, this CRM didn't come in a vacuum. You remember what happened within the atomic junction incident explosion. That was unpalatable. That was a very horrible scene. And in this business, I think safety is of paramount concern.
All right, so you just heard Yusuf Suleimana there asking the NPA to allow the marketers to continue using their existing infrastructure. What explains the inertia on the part of the NPA to listen to people like Mr. Suleimana?
I'm sure you have to get to them, and they.
Well, of course, I must say that
yes.
Before this program, we had made frantic efforts to speak to the NPA on this matter.
Yes, they haven't given us any concrete reason why they should prevent us from using our platform. And we are surprised institutions like COPEC and IES are silent about this issue. This is a very, 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 very serious issue. We have invested over $400 million in this industry. And now you are coming out with a policy that is going to render our investment redundant without compensation. And you think we should support Sage Petroleum and Blue Ocean, some of them foreign companies, to kick out indigenous people from the space. LPG refilling industry is the only industry in Ghana that is 100% owned by Ghanaians. We employ over 10,000 Ghanaians. We have built 800 gas stations across the country. We have 41 LPG marketing companies. And you want to collapse all these companies just because you want to introduce a new policy? Per your new policy, you are not introducing an industry. You are just applying a strategy, a new strategy to an existing industry. So you should be careful the way you go about some of these things.
Could it be perhaps your way of negotiating this matter? Would you consider re-strategizing to find out a better way of engaging government on this matter?
We have engaged. Look, for the past, this thing started it started in 2017 after atomic explosion. And let nobody deceive you that cylinder recirculation is the safest model. No. Just this year, Kenya is practicing cylinder recirculation. I'm sure you know the explosion that happened in Kenya is one of the biggest explosions that ever happened on the African continent. They are doing cylinder recirculation. There is no safety is how you make it. Okay, even water, drinking water can even kill you if you don't drink it safely. So it's how you make it. And we have always been with NPA that, look, whatever safety measures that you put in place to ensure that our outlets are safe, and we are always with them. With that, we have never opposed any safety measures that NPA brings to bear on our industry. On the average, we spend between $10,000 to $12,000 a year on safety alone, on each LPG station you see out there. So why are we being treated this way?
Is a boycott the most logical action to be taken at this point in time?
For us, that is the best way to go. We are not saying they should not do their cylinder recirculation, but we are saying you cannot eat your cake and have it. You can't use your right hand to do business with me. We have lifted from Sage Petroleum for the past 10 years. We have supported him at Atuavo, lifting thousands and millions of kilos from him. Now you've built your infrastructure, and now you have turned your guns against the very hand that fed you. But is that fair?
Why do you think the only reason why they're doing this is to kill indigenous businesses?
Well, if that's not the reason why would you oppose us taking part in CRM? Why do you have to oppose us? I'm saying at that meeting was chaired by Mr. Perio Kujeto, Sage Petroleum, Mr. J. Mensah was there, Blue Ocean were represented by about 3 people. These people strongly oppose the idea of we owning the policy. We have said, look, when this policy started, we opposed it. I must be frank, because I'm sure as you're sitting here, if you hear your regulator, the national, your regulator, the chief executive of your regulator, your regulator saying...
The Communications Authority?
Communications saying all TV stations in Ghana are going to be closed down. How would you feel? I'm not sure you are even an investor at this, you even as a worker, and I say that with great respect. How would you feel when you hear that all TV stations in Ghana are going to be closed down? That was the announcement which was made by National Petroleum Authority then. We were sitting after...
But of course, you know there were good reasons for that announcement.
Fair enough, but I'm saying that, look, safety is how you make it, okay? There is no industry that does not have accidents and incidences. Since atomic incident, that NPA upped the safety measures. Have you heard of any major explosions in Ghana? And I'm saying Kenya, January, or was it February? Google it. It was one of the biggest explosions that has ever happened on the African continent. They are doing cylinder recirculation. But we don't even have anything against cylinder recirculation. We have said that if they are not going to allow us to partake in it, they are not ready, they don't want to hear anything about compensation. Okay? There is no country in the world that has such a well-established distribution network. Ghana, we were doing cylinder recirculation in the 80s and the 70s. You don't have a white beard, so when you go home, go and ask your father. He'll tell you. It didn't work. And it gave in... I've
been shaving lately.
Okay. It would have been white. It gave in, it did not work, and it gave in to the current model. And you have seen a lot of investment. Almost when we got a consultant to put the investment indigenous Ghanaians have made in this industry, it was almost $500 million. We have invested in 800 LPG stations. We have invested in 41 LPG marketing companies. We have invested in almost 600 LPG distribution trucks. We have invested in almost 400 LPG tanks that we have installed in schools, hotels, and what have you. And now you are coming, after our initial resistance, we were able to get to our people to understand that, look, this is government policy. If government wants to implement its policy, you cannot say no to it. What you can do is that if the policy is being implemented in a way that affects you negatively, you have every right to speak up. When we spoke up at the time, and eventually we got our people around and said, look, let's accept the policy, let's own it. And now you are telling us you will not. Can you imagine if Nestle wants to introduce a new package of Milo, let's say 1 kilo of Milo, and Nestle tell all the supermarkets and all those distributing Milo in Ghana that before we will allow you to distribute this package of Milo, you have to stop distributing the sachet Milo, you have to stop distributing the 10 Milo. That is the only way we can allow you to distribute this new package of Milo. When all the supermarkets in Ghana have space, have what it takes to accommodate the new package you are bringing into their system.
So how long are you going to continue with this boycott?
It's forever. We are not going to do business with them. They have orchestrated this. And unfortunately, the regulator has bought into it.
But your fight should be with the regulator and not with SAGE.
No. I'm saying they orchestrated it. But you can, like I said, so let me ask you, if tomorrow there is no LPG, there's LPG shortage in Ghana, okay, and these two depots are the only people having LPG, and they are torn between filling the bottles and giving it to their distribution network on the ground and giving that to us, who do you think they will supply the product to? So we are creating monopoly, and we have to stop that. It's not good for our country.
So this is a matter of policy. You say you've got engaged, with the ministry, you've engaged with the NPA, the regulator, and they still aren't listening to you.
That's right.
This is an election year. You've got over 40 members. Yeah. Have you had any interaction with the opposition? What are they saying? Do they have any alternative policies for you? Look,
Pakwesi, I will give you, tomorrow I'll send somebody, or I'll come here with a file of letters that we have written. Recently, we wrote a letter to Dr. His Excellency, the Vice President's office. We sent one to His Excellency, the former John Mohammed's office. We gave one to Alan Tremantin. In fact, we are even looking for Cheddar to give one to. Okay? For them to see what the real issues are. the cylinder recirculation that they are making noise about. If all the LPG stations in Ghana are to shut down today, the cylinder recirculation cannot supply even half of Accra.
So I'm saying that you've got over 40 members, you say?
Yes.
You've got about 10,000 people, workers in the industry.
That's right.
So this obviously gives you some power to negotiate.
That's right.
And what do you want from the alternative parties? What should they be telling you?
Well, if cylinder recirculation is what they still want to go at, we have no problem. But they should root the thing through the locals who have invested in the industry, who have built this industry for the past 30 years. You cannot tie our hands at the back and start giving us slaps.
And that's what you suspect government is trying to do?
That is what Sage Petroleum and Blue Ocean, in connivance with the National Petroleum Authority, is doing to us. You have stopped us from like I'm saying, it beats common sense. It beats any business sense that you are introducing a new product. The product has a distribution network. Already existing. Every Ghanaian in this country knows where to find LPG if he wants one. So why don't you start from there? They should have even applauded us that we have come. That look, we have 800 distribution network. Take it and let's roll out government policy. They should have applauded us. Instead, you said no. We have made all the arguments in this world. You said no. If you want to do that, go and decommissioning. Even the decommissioning, they don't know what they're talking about. To decommission one LPG station, you need between $12,000 to $15,000. Where are we going to find the money to do that? And you are saying decommission, we have over 1,500 bullets. Well, when we decommission it, where do we take them? Do I bring one to your house? Or we should just decommission and throw them away so that they become another environmental hazard for our kids? There's no plan. The decommission, tell them to produce a decommissioning plan. Where do we get? I legally established my business. You want me to decommission. Have you given me money to do that decommissioning? The way our regulator is behaving, they behave as if there is some fund that we should tap into and use to do some of these things. Maybe they are always using public funds to do all the activities. So they think we are also like that. You want me, a businessman, to go to the bank, borrow money. There's a town called TV3, for instance, in Ghana. That town has an LPG station. There are 1,000 people in that town that buys LPG. My one LPG station is able to feed all the 1,000 people. Now you are asking me, a businessman with private capital, to go to the bank, borrow money, and establish another distribution, a para distribution network to service that same 1,000 people that my one gas station can service effectively. Does it make any business sense to you? We have said, look, give it to us. Leave the private man to do his own expansion. NPA does not determine when the private man should expand or not. The 800 gas stations we built in Ghana, there's no one that NPA pushed us to do. We will go to your hometown, identify a land. I call you, can you speak to your Busiapenyi to give me a plot of land? He gives me, I buy it, send the documents to National Petroleum Authority. They go and inspect it, give me authority. I invest over $200,000 on it and give it right back to you, and then you give me the go-ahead to operate. So they should not be the one to decide that we should go and build new exchange points.
So what's the way forward? You say you're not backing down on this boycott?
Never. And in fact, there are a lot of measures we are going to put in place to ensure that indigenous businesses in Ghana are protected. For once, we are going to do this to protect like I said, there is no industry in Ghana that does not have foreign hands. Even by Rayachi and Kokwayachi, there are Chinese people in Osu who are doing gobe. You have such an industry, an indigenous industry like the LPG industry. Why don't you protect it? What have we done? These are not galamsey. All the LPG stations you see there have permits from about 8 constitutionally mandated bodies. So why are we being treated as if we are some riffraffs somewhere? Let's just push them aside.
Gabriel, I must say a big thank you to
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you. Is with the LPG Marketers Association.
It's good to be here. It's always good to be here.
It's always a pleasure speaking to you, Gabriel. And I must indicate that we've made frantic efforts to speak to the NPA on this matter. We'll keep bagging their phone lines to ensure that we get a response from them. But thank you very much for watching the program. My name is Parkus Yasar. Immense appreciation to my directors as well as producers, to Ebenezer, to Shadrach, to Bismarck, and all of you guys doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. We'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.